For folks that don't know, you're from Ferguson. You've been long term fighting. You were elected official. There was a documentary on you called St. Louis Superman that's got an Oscar nomination.
Right.
And right now, you are facing 8 to 32 years in prison if a felony for protesting. For folks that don't understand this, explain what's going on.
So first off, thank you for. I'm glad I'm here. It's always a pleasure. You already know, Clay. Um, just like in Ferguson, we've seen police violence. We've seen black bodies, and when we see that, we take to the streets. And so I moved here to Phoenix about almost 2 years ago. And as we know, last year um, we had Breonna Taylor, we had Ahmaud Arbery, um, and George Floyd. And right here in Phoenix, on the same day as George Floyd, we had Deion Johnson, who was killed by the Department of Public Safety on the highway. And so people here in Phoenix, they took to the streets. In Maricopa County, they took to the streets. I didn't think that I would find myself out in the streets so fast. I moved here to heal from a lot of the stuff that I dealt with in politics and the movement in St. Louis. Um, but I was out here. I came out. I began to organize with a group of young folks, amazing fighters down here in Phoenix, and many organizations took to the streets, did the great work like Mass Liberation Arizona and other orgs, and we found ourselves being targeted by the police with these frivolous arrests, these arrests that usually are like catch and release. But in July, they started to kind of stick. And on August 9th, which was the anniversary of Michael Brown's death, we took to the streets and organized a march and a rally. And from that point, we got arrested. And we got arrested for so many different charges, assault on police officers, and all of these different things that absolutely aren't true. The police camera footage shows that isn't true. The police surveillance footage shows it isn't true. There are a lot of things that are unraveling about these police officers who are involved in the tactical response unit, as well as in October we had so many young people and so many fighters arrested, and like they tried to tack on they're actually tacking on gang enhancement charges for these young folks and for these folks who aren't in gangs, for these folks who just took to the streets and to voice their dislike and the fight for Black lives.
And it's really disturbing. I was reading this article that you sent me, and just to make sure folks understand this, is that for people who are protesting in Maricopa County, the attorney's office, they're trying to act like all these people who are they literally made up a fictional gang. They're
Absolutely.
made up a gang and saying these people are part of this gang and trying to give them felony charges. I mean, it's really, I mean, listen, y'all, if it can happen in Phoenix, it can happen in Philly. If it can, I mean, we've seen it, other, folks getting these charges put against them, but they literally are making up a gang. It's completely illogical. They're trying to make y'all political prisoners.
Absolutely.
Political prisoners. We got
Absolutely.
a 29-year-old graduate student, does not run drugs, no guns, and they're saying she's a part of an organized crime ring. I mean,
Right.
this is insane. And so, how are you able to fight this? I know there's a special airing in Phoenix tonight. It'll be live stream on other platforms. But how are you able to fight this, Bruce? This is scary.
Yeah, and so I mean, Martin Luther King said it comes a time when you do something not because it's popular, not because it's safe, not because it's political, but because your conscience tells you it's right. That's I've lived by that, and now being here in Phoenix, um, we have some people doing the work, right? Like we have some people out here in the streets that have our backs. I'm with an organization called Mass Liberation Arizona, a Black liberation organization. Focus on Black liberation. And like from day one, they were out in the streets. You have BLM Metro Phoenix. You have so many different organizations here that are doing the work. And with us coming together, right, especially with Mass Lib kind of leading on these on the political prosecutions that's happening, there are many different organizing tactics and many different things that we're doing, from the media attention with the politically charged series that Dave Biscobine is doing on ABC 15, to we have press releases coming out. Um, we have press conferences coming out. We have literature going out. We have political education events. We're showing up to the subcommittee meetings. We're showing up to city council meetings virtually. We're showing up in the legislature. We're fighting problematic legislation right now that speaks to anti-protest and anti-accountability on behalf of the police officers. We've also introduced legislation, House Bill 2843, that's being carried by Representative Hernandez, that protects our First Amendment rights. So there are a lot of things that we're doing, along with we have lawyers. We have lawyers that are coming together. We have the People's Law Firm, that's doing an amazing job of representing folks, and other lawyers. And so, I mean, it's a concerted effort. I'm just glad to be, in a space where I can do the work and bring some of my lived experience, to what's going on, to, as the Maricopa County prosecuting attorney tries to double down on these charges. That's something we're not going for. So we're starting we're kicking off our Drop the Charges campaign and our Where's Adele campaign, which is Alistair Adele, who is the prosecuting attorney here in Maricopa County.
Yeah, it's just insane. Even being threatened with 8 to 32 years. As we're in this conversation about, so-called, we care about, reform, and we care about these prisons being overcrowded, and you're trying to lock up some. It's just insanity. It's just insanity. It's crazy. I know the answer to this, but I got to ask you anyway. When stuff like this happens, does it make you afraid to protest? Does it make you say, you know what, this is too dangerous? This is my freedom is at risk here. How do you push beyond that and keep on doing the work? Because being in that system, that criminal justice system, is very scary.
Yeah. Well, I think you said it, Clay. Being a friend of mine, my answer. But
Yeah.
for me, who else is going to do it? Who else is going to do it the way that you do it, right? Who else is going to come from this lived experience of knowing what it's like to be out here, to work inside the system, to know how this system is built? This system is doing exactly what it's built for. It's not broken. That's why, a lot of these talks of reform aren't going to work. It's going to take abolishing this system. It's going to take truly defunding the police, and so we're going to have to take to the streets outside of organizing, right? We still have to make our presence known in the street. And so, no, it doesn't deter me. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't make me want to. It actually makes me want to protest more. It actually fires me up even more, because if I sit back and don't do anything, if I don't take to the streets, or if I don't make my voice heard the way I know it needs to be heard, and everything that I've taught my children, everything that I showed my children, is null and void, right? Like we can't keep living in this idea of safety. And I think about those who came before us. If they operated in this idea of safety and what they thought was safe, whether it was politically safe or whether it was physically safe, then we wouldn't be where we are, even though we still have so much further to go. If our Harriet Tubmans, if our Nat Turners, if our Marcus Garveys, if our folks like decided to think in this place of safety, then we wouldn't be where we are. And so I can't think about the safe aspect, or that particular road to go, because I mean, the worst thing that can inevitably happen is something that's going to happen already. So I might as well fight till it happens.